Hello everyone, it's the RV Inspector Al Pierce. Hey, coming up next is my good friend, Mr. Alan Warren, your RV wingman on the RV Show USA.
And we are back with another hour still ahead. I am your RV wingman, Alan Warren. Glad you are with us this hour. We have a follow-up on a story that we shared several months ago. Now, before we bring up my guests, I want to invite you to add your name to our email list. That way you will receive a notification every time we begin our live stream, and you'll also, all you have to do is click on the link and join us. You can also win your share of over 60 grand. Yeah, I said it, 60 grand in prizes we're trying to give away in 2019. So go to thervshowusa.com, click on our email list. Take you 10 seconds to do, add your name to the list. Go to thervshowusa.com. All right, so as your RV wingman, I do my level best to do everything in my power to make you a smarter, more informed, and happier RVer. And we do that in hour one by introducing you to smart people that are real pros, folks you can trust. Now, in hour two, we hit on the uglier side, the darker side of RVing that some people don't want to talk about. But a side of RVing that is, well, it's not all ice cream and lollipops, as they say. We do this not to scare people away from RVing, not to bash one particular manufacturer or dealer, but to make you more aware of what can and does happen to good folks who've had their dream RV turn into a nightmare. So that said, several months ago, we introduced you to a couple who had their fifth wheel, a beautiful, good-looking Heartland Gateway, one that they had taken very good care of, literally come apart in a 20-mile stretch on a state highway. So a lot of people said, well, whatever happened to those people? We're going to find out right now. Let's bring up Heather and Chris on line two. Hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Hi, Alan.
Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Alan. Thanks.
Thank you.
You betcha. So when we first spoke a little over 3 months ago, things were looking pretty bleak for your family. And in 2 or 3 minutes, can you share kind of what happened, who y'all are, and what happened, and how things kind of went from bliss to a nightmare?
Sure. Yeah, Alan. It's Heather and Chris here, and we have two sons, and we a couple of years ago decided to start traveling. So our story kind of goes back to a Sunday morning back in early July when we were camping in an RV park, a national park in Winter Harbor, Maine, and we were leaving that morning to go to Canada. And during that travel, kind of noticed RV didn't quite look right. The fifth wheel, the wheels had been protruding. And so we needed to pull off. And so we pulled off to the nearest rest area that we could get to. And when we pulled in there, we got out, we noticed the RV was pretty much, lack of a better word, toast. The frame was bent. There were cracks in the fiberglass. There was a gaping hole in the back of the RV where the roof had literally started to pull itself apart from the RV. We were in that rest area. It was kind of a desolate part of Maine. We called roadside assistance. They pretty much told us if we can't tow it, they can't. So we nursed it along to the nearest RV park that we could get to, and that's kind of where the story starts with our
the pictures
kind of
are
saga.
Pictures are just incredible, Chris and Heather. They're I mean, it's hard to believe this happened in a 20-mile stretch of a state maintained highway, but I mean, I believe you because I've seen pictures of you maintained your RV all along, didn't you? I mean, you had inspections and you took good care of it.
Yes, even as recently as March, 4 months before this happened, we got the inspection done and all this maintenance. We spent a lot of money on all this stuff in March for it to fall apart 4 months later, which was pretty heartbreaking. Okay,
so now you've got this junk. Sorry, that's just what it is. Now it's a beautiful, junk fifth wheel that you live in. That's been that you limped into a campground in Maine. What happened after that? Tell us what happened.
Sure. So, well, that day we got there, we put out the signs and everything. I looked at it and still couldn't believe what happened. I called our insurance company to file a claim. It happened while we were driving. So somebody said, call them up and file a claim. So I did. And they sent an inspector out a couple of days later. And, he took pictures, looked at it. And then they got back to us and they denied our claim and said that it was frame failure that had caused it. So when they did that, we started to contact Heartland. And we went back and forth with Heartland for probably 6 to 8 weeks. At first, they had agreed to send somebody and then changed their mind. I mean, they literally lied to us in various emails. And we finally got them to send somebody out there. And they sent an employee of their own out to inspect it. And so he wrote this really long report, which basically said we hit something as well as the road caused the damage. So with that,
hang on, I'm sorry to jump in here. That's just
Sure.
what I do. How could, from the pictures, Chris, if you hit something, you must have hit it from all sides because the back end is crushed. The slide out is right.
Yeah, and what you say is exactly true. Is that had we hit something, then the insurance company would have covered it. That's an easy claim for us to file and to tell them, we hit something, this happened. But since it wasn't the case, we didn't.
So
from there.
So what actually happened?
Sorry,
So you had the inspection, and the insurance company said no because it had something to do with the frame, and then Heartland sent their people out, and they said you hit something. What happened?
Yeah. So once they said they hit something, and so we were we talked to Jim Fenner several times, and we actually got him. We pretty much proved to him through pictures and chat that no, we didn't, and we actually got him to admit that report was erroneous. So, but at the same time, the insurance company agreed to send an independent forensic engineer out to look at the RV, and that forensic engineer came back with a report that technically proved how hitting something could not have caused that, or how a road could not have caused that. That forensic engineer determined the most likely cause had to do with a misaligned slide, that the pistons from that did this damage, and that was due to a crack in the steel that led up to I'm not a genius when it comes to this, but where the slide goes in and out. So that was his most likely cause. So we went back to Heartland again, and we a lot of back and forth again. We got Jim Fenner to agree, or to talk Lippert into going out to look at the RV. Heather emailed him prior to going and actually told him what the most likely cause was according to that report. She said, we're going to let you go look at it again in good faith, assuming you're going to go look and try to find the actual cause. So then it comes to, we get the Lippert report, and it was really, I don't know if you've seen Heather's blog, but she kind of put some of the points.
But let me jump in here real quick. So the fifth wheel was like 3 years old when this happened, but you had a frame issue when the thing was fairly new, didn't you? There was a problem with the frame.
Yes, in the first year we had a crack in the fiberglass, and we had it repaired, but looking back now, we think it was just a cosmetic repair, and they never looked into the root cause of why did it crack in the first place.
Okay, so it's been 3 months. We got less than a minute to go till we're going to go to break. We're going to come back but so it's been 3 months. What's the bottom line? And then we're going to talk more about that. What happened? Where are we today?
So where Heartland is that they, even though we disproved the first report and the second report really has no, it's kind of ludicrous to us. What Heartland says is they stand by those two reports, and so they're just they had nothing to do with it. Those are the reasons that this happened, and so
they're not going to help.
So pretty much tough luck.
Oh, We're going to talk some more. Y'all hang on. We got to jump for a hard break. We've got Chris and Heather Gebbia, two of the nicest people with the worst luck ever with not just a lemon RV, but an RV that literally fell apart on them on a state highway. We're going to continue right after this. Alan Warren, your RV wingman of the RV Show USA. All right, so back with Heather and Chris Gebbia. They are full-time RVers who have had, well, a year from hell, so to speak, at least maybe 8 months or so of hell, when their Heartland fifth wheel literally disintegrated and came apart while they were driving on a 20-mile stretch of state highway up in Maine. So, guys, I guess the bad news is, I don't know how else to put it, you're screwed. I mean, the manufacturer's doing nothing. Am I right?
You're right. Exactly.
What do you do? I mean, have you hired a lawyer? Did you hire a lawyer? What options did you have? I mean, it sounds like you're out of options now. Did you just give up?
Well, we're still kind of blaming that. We've talked to some lawyers, but the RV manufacturers make it really, as you know, they make it really difficult to pursue legal action. You have to do it in their home court in Indiana. There's a lot of expenses, and the time frame could take up to a couple of years. They just don't make it easy to have any recourse against them. So it's just, you really got to think about and consider. So we've talked to some and thought about it, but it's not as easy as it seems to do that.
It had to be devastating, I would think. I mean, Heather, for both of you, but especially for you, being a mom, and I know that you homeschool your kids, it had to just hurt. Probably still hurts.
Yes, it did. And it's been 6 months now, and I am doing a lot better now, of course. But yeah, for the first several months, I couldn't sleep at night. I was very stressed and worried, and it was heartbreaking and really sad. It was something very hard to get over. It's not that I've gotten over it, but I'm doing a lot better.
What about your kids? I mean, kids are pretty resilient, but it had to be kind of hard on them as well.
It was, but they're doing fine because, like I talked to you the other day, and we're back on the road. We got another RV, and because after all the stress and everything going on with that, it was getting in the way of our family time, and we just decided we need to get back to doing what we love to do as a family. And our kids are going to grow up so fast. I didn't want to waste all of their younger years in this fight with the company. And not spending time as a family making memories like we had been doing. So thankfully, we were able to get another RV and start traveling again. We're looking forward to making more memories and not fighting so much with a heartless company.
What a great attitude. I mean, you must really love RVing and what that does in spite of the last 6 months from you know where.
Yes, we do love RVing. This did not turn us off from RVing. Definitely turned us off from Heartland. We would never buy another Heartland.
Who do you blame? Who do you blame for this? Do you blame Heartland? Do you blame the insurance people, the inspectors, the framing? I mean, where do you think the blame lies? And I know that I'm just asking you to guess, but what do you think?
Well, I don't think it's insurance responsibility because we didn't hit anything and they don't cover frame failure. I believe it's Heartland. I think they should take care of a customer. They really just hung us out to dry. They didn't even have any compassion on us, or they didn't even care. All they cared about doing was sending inspectors out and wasting time and money to try to prove why they shouldn't help us.
And as Alan, if I can just add something to that, it's with them, Heartland probably ended up spending more money sending inspectors and doing reports to try to prove why none of this is their responsibility than it would have taken to, for lack of a better word, make things right with us or make amends for what happened. They themselves, everybody said they've never seen anything like this happen to an RV. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I could say a lot of things about him, but I think my mother-in-law is listening to this call, and she told me I don't have anything nice to say about someone, don't say it. So I'll stop there.
You guys are amazing. I could never have gone through what you went through and maintain my cool like this. I mean, so is there anything that, maybe a stupid question, anything good come out of this tragic situation? Anything?
I don't know. I hope that just by sharing our story, maybe we spared other people from purchasing from them and having a similar experience. Actually, on my blog post that I've written about it, I've heard from so many people about that they have their own problems with Heartland, and it made me realize that we're not the only people that have problems with this company, and they don't seem to want to help anybody.
Well,
so.
Let me jump in here. You said, I think the first time we spoke, that you had posted some things on one of the Heartland Facebook group pages, and the only thing that they would have is good things. Every time you got on there, they threw you off.
Well, they actually blocked me, and they blocked a friend of mine. Every time one of us would try to post on their Facebook page, they blocked us, so I can't even post on there anymore. They don't want to hear anything negative, apparently.
And one thing too, it was funny, Alan. You might recall, but they came out with that press release about how they were improving their customer service and having this whole new experience, all at a time that we were going through this. We just thought that was kind of ironic.
Yeah, in fact, I read that on the air. Folks, what happened was shortly when this whole thing was going on, probably 60 days into it, 90 days into it, Heartland issues a press release that said, man, we're going to really get involved in customer service and we're going to really step it up. And I'm like, really? Step it up or step on people? I'm not trying to be ugly, but if your story is true, and I have no reason to doubt it, that you guys have really you drew as they say, you picked the black beam, but you came out and your attitude seems pretty good. So what are y'all doing differently now with your new RV? Are you looking at it every time you hitch it up to the truck?
Yeah, we do actually. We looked at the other one a lot, and every time before we left somewhere, we looked at it. But this one, it's like every day you look. It's funny, if there's a black piece of dirt on it, it's like, can you go up on the ladder? Can you look? Is that a crack?
I'm so paranoid to see a crack, and I'm always like, oh, no, what is that? I see a black mark. That better not be a crack, and it's not. But I'm always looking at it. I feel so paranoid now that something is going to go wrong with this one.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you've got a good one. You won't have any of those experiences like that, like happened last summer. So what's on the calendar for the Gebbias for 2019? What are y'all doing?
Well, we are heading west. We are doing something different this year. Typically, RVers like to fly south for the winter, and we used to do that, but we want to try something different. So we're heading to the mountains and some snow. We're going to go skiing. Our kids have never skied before, so we want to give that a try and see what it's like to spend some time in the snow for us Floridians who haven't done that before in an RV anyway.
That sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. What do y'all do real quickly? What do you do for a living? But you know what? I don't have time to even ask because we got to wrap it up. Thank you so much for sharing the rest of your story, and hopefully we will stay connected as we move forward, okay?
Yes,
thank you, Alan. We really appreciate it.
All right, y'all take care. Enjoy your skiing vacation wherever you go.
Okay, thanks.
All right, you take care. Folks, that's an example of what can happen to really good people. The RV industry is not our enemy. However, there are some people in the RV industry that I think I wish that they would reconsider the way they do their business. And when you leave people like Heather and Chris stranded with an RV that is total at absolutely no fault of their own, something ain't right, as they say. All right, back with our RV lemon lawyer, Ron Burge, after this.